What's up, y'all? I actually recorded this video. Was it last week or sometime last? Whatever. When that Tariq Nasheed interview of the Breakfast Club, Break, Breakfast Club came out, I actually did a video because when I first found out, obviously he was on there. Again, I was like, oh, this nigga. I've got my I guess issues with Tariq Nasheed. I'm not a Tariq Nasheed hater, even though he might say so, and his fans or his followers or his flunkies, they might say so. But me being critical of somebody doesn't necessarily mean I'm a hater, especially if that somebody portrays themselves to be a certain way, yet their actions show opposite. So what I mean by that is basically, I'm just going to tell y'all what I got from Tariq Nasheed from that interview, because it is my first time actually tuning into him and actually listening to him. That time, and my laptop's dying, but fuck it, it's already dying anyways. My other stuff before listening to this interview or watching the interview, when I did hear about Tariq Nasheed, it was always him beefing with either Tommy Sotomayor or making fun of someone else black, yet he calls himself this pro-black. He also has this Coon Train Awards, which I think is the dumbest thing, because again, this is my ideology with the whole coon terminology and just using racist white terms, black people using racist white terms on other black people, yet trying to say they're against white supremacy or white or just racism or just anti-blackness. Now I understand there's black people out there who are sellouts and will sell out their own people just for a pat on the head from the white man. I wouldn't necessarily call those people coons, even though I understand the aspect of it. But if you really want to define what a coon is basically someone who is basically portraying themselves like the stereotypical, just bad aspects of the black community, either for the enjoyment of white folks, which that lady on SNL does all the fucking time. I can't really stand her material because of that, and I forget her name. I don't even really want to remember her name. The big black lady who's on the Ghostbusters movie, and I did the Ghostbusters, I guess, my thoughts on the shit, either on this channel or the other channel I got, my first channel, which again, linked in the description below. Subscribe there as well. But that's my definition of a coon. Someone who is willing to always make black people look bad and look a certain way just for the enjoyment of white people. His idea of a coon and many other black people's idea of a coon is a black person who either has a quote white opinion or an opinion different from what the black group think opinion is. Simply having a difference of opinion doesn't make one a coon. It doesn't make them necessarily a bad person. You may not like their stance on whatever it may be, but you can't take that out on the person. You could just say, I don't agree with this viewpoint, and let them live just as you will want them to let you live, because just as much as you don't agree with their stance on whatever, they don't agree with your stance on whatever. But you don't see them calling you out on shit. Now, if it's like that, then sure, play the game the way the game is played. You call this person out because they called you out on some shit. What the fuck ever. I just choose to live my life not doing stupid stuff like that. But on back to Tariq Nasheed. What do I think? I think he's really a knowledgeable brother. I think when you take away the stupid ass hypocritical aspects of his pro-blackness, he seems to have a lot of knowledge. He seems to have a lot of planning as well. He doesn't strike me as one of these brothers out here who is calling themselves a pro-black, yet he all he does is point the finger and comes up with no solution. I think Tariq Nasheed is one of the few, alongside with Dr. Boyce Watkins as well. They're two of the few, I would say, pro-blacks if you want to call them, that actually come up with solutions and not just point fingers. And a lot of the pro-blacks I see, especially the Black Lives Matter activists, all they really do is point fingers. So I give Tariq Nasheed that credit. At least he comes up with solutions instead of just pointing the finger at problems and saying, white people, you're the problem, and you're this and you're that, yet coming up with no further solutions for blacks to get out of the shithole that we're in. But on the flip side, again, I can't really respect somebody who calls themselves a pro-black and the one simple thing they do is make fun of another black person's skin tone and call them ugly or crispy and stuff like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Tariq Nasheed has this crispy doll that it's supposed to be a caricature of Tommy Sotomayor. Okay? Now, he created this crispy doll simply because of Tommy Sotomayor's dark skin. He calls the doll ugly and you're so dark and black and ugly and this, that, and the third. Yet he is a pro-black. How do you suspect your pro-black fans who are of the same skin tone of Tommy Sotomayor, or you, or me, or just any black in general, how do you expect people to believe that you're so pro-black, but you're making fun of somebody for being so black? To me, that makes no type of sense, and people can try to excuse it. He even tried to excuse it and say, oh, crispy doesn't necessarily mean dark skin. It means ashy. It means this, that, and the third, and all this other stuff. When anyone in the black community, and even I grew up hearing this, not being told to me per se, because I was never really, I guess, dark skin or whatever, but to other darker skinned black people, they were being called crispy, and the crispiness wasn't because of their ashiness or some other aspects of it. It was simply because of their dark skin. So this isn't a new generational thing where 90s babies came up with this shit. This shit's been going on. Tariq Nasheed's much older than I am. So if he's using that terminology, obviously he either grew up or it was around during his youth as well. And probably before then too. So let's not make it seem as though this whole crispy insult to dark-skinned men and women is a brand new thing and it means something different, and I'm and other dark-skinned people who are offended by that joke are just making up some type of meaning for it. No, we know what crispy means. It's kind of like if a white person were to say, when I call you nigger, it's not because of I'm racist. You know how many times I've been called a nigger by a white person, yet they claim to not be racist? So why would you use racist terminology to call a black person, especially, that, yet claim you're not a racist? It's the same with this crispy shit. How can you say you don't hate this man for his dark skin, or you don't hate his dark skin, yet use a term that insults people for their darker tone? That's the real logic up in this motherfucker. But anyways, that's all I really had to say about this shit. And even during the Breakfast Club interview, when Charlemagne brought that up, Charlemagne being a guy who's I'm pretty sure has been called crispy a few times in his lifetime. I've seen people make fun of Charlemagne's skin tone. So, I'm pretty sure he's heard the term crispy, but he brought it up, and then Tariq Nasheed just dodged the question and said, oh, we not going to talk about that. It's going to be like you asking me about a bum who takes shits. Why? Well, that doesn't concern me, or whatever. Well played, but not well played, okay? He dodged it because he knew it was going to expose how hypocritical he is as a pro-black. But that's all I really got to say about that situation. That's all I got to say. Hopefully this video actually uploads, because I tried to, like I said, I re-recorded it last week or so, and it got lost somewhere in the internet universe or whatever. But hopefully it'll upload. Until next time, until next video, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Y'all stay black, not crispy, but black and beautiful.